Hey, everybody, welcome back. Today's Tuesday, February 23rd, 2021. I'm Trey Crowder. That's Mark Agee. What's up, Mark?
What's up, Trey? But before I get into the show, I wanted to ask you, you and Corey and Drew were real excited about Pizza Hut having Detroit-style pizza,
Hmm.
which is apparently is really popular in Tennessee. And I just want to know, what the fuck is Detroit-style pizza?
Okay, I'm not gonna say that this Detroit style pizza is very popular in Tennessee. We were talking about
Hmm.
Jets, which is a pizza chain, and no, they don't sponsor the podcast. This is organically coming up. That's Detroit based, and the pizza is Detroit style. And me and Corey were both saying we are big fans of it. Uh, Not that it's like a cultural phenomenon in Tennessee or anything, but as far as what it is, as far as I could tell, Mark, it's a rectangle, so I like that.
Hmm.
Whatever. It's rectangular, and
Hmm.
it's like it's not deep dish because I mean, look, I like deep dish too, but deep dish to me, like Chicago type deep dish, is more of like a casserole, like a
Yeah.
pizza casserole than a pizza. So
Mm.
it ain't like that, but it is like it's a little thicker and a little deeper, and it's rectangular and it's real greasy. And I'm probably butchering what Detroit style pizza is, but that's my
I th-
interpretation of what it seems like it is, and that's what
I think they
Jets
put the cheese.
does, and I
I
like it.
think they put. I think Detroit styles they put the cheese under the sauce, so it keeps the sauce from sipping into the bread, soaking into the bread. I think.
Okay,
I
well,
don't know.
see, look, clearly you've done some research. You have all I've done is eat it. All I've done is eat it, and I know that I like it. And so, like, you ask me what it is, I'm like, well, it's a square, first of all, because it's all just based
Yeah.
on how it looks to me. But yeah, no, I like Jets.
I like people get way too emotionally invested in which pizza is better. It's all pizza. Pizza's all good. It's bread, cheese, sauce, toppings, good, right? You can't
Speaking
really
of
mess it up.
Detroit style things, did you know that like Coney dogs, like
Hmm.
people are aware of like Coney dogs for hot dogs? You know that's not Coney Island, it's Detroit somehow. Coney dogs come from Detroit. It's not a Coney Island thing, apparently. That's also
Did not know
something I
that.
may have just absolutely butchered, but I'm pretty sure that that's true because I've been to Detroit a few times. And
I'll just I'll just say that like all the regional food specialties are good in their own way, except for Cincinnati chili, which is an abomination before God.
I'm with you on that. I like the city of
Cinnamon and spaghetti
Cincinnati.
noodles, man. Come
I,
on,
I like the
cinnamon.
city of Cincinnati a
Yes,
lot. I
it's
actually,
great. Yeah.
yeah, I actually think it's underrated in terms of beauty because I always drove into Cincinnati from the south on I-75. Right, is that right? Up from
Hmm.
Tennessee up through Kentucky into Cincinnati, and when you drive into Cincinnati from the south, it kind of you go around this curve on the interstate, and Cincinnati kind of like slowly presents itself to you, and it's a gorgeous city. I love Cincinnati, but yes, y'all need to stop fucking with chili. I don't know what that skyline chili stuff is supposed to be. I'm a trash barrel. I'm a garbage bin of a person when it comes to food, and I can't get with the Cincinnati chili thing. I can't do
Uh,
it.
oh, the only time I ever passed the Wienermobile in person on the interstate was in Cincinnati, so it always have a special place in my heart. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah,
Real
let's
quick
do a
before we get
show.
into the show,
Oh,
Mark, you got a birthday announcement, right? You wanted to
oh,
make?
happy
Let's do it.
birthday, Holly Barlow, avid viewer. My aunt Kim asked us to wish her happy birthday, and I'm gonna say, have a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, we've talked about Aunt Kim on here before. So you got Aunt Kim, and Aunt Kim is the aunt who is lesbian, right? Is gay, or is that a different aunt?
Yeah, but she doesn't like when us talk about it on Facebook. I don't think.
I'm sorry. I'm very sorry, Aunt Kim. I
No, she's
apologize.
got
Here's
married. She's
why I
got
said
married
that.
though.
Here's
She's
why I
got
said
married though.
that.
Happy. Yeah,
Just
yeah,
so
yeah.
she knows, here's why I said that. People that followed me for a long time know you've got Aunt Kim and I've got Uncle Tim, my gay
Oh,
Uncle
okay.
Tim.
Yeah.
So that's why I was setting it up that way. But I feel bad now that I
No, no,
that I
it's
just
not
put it
like
out there on Front Street for Aunt Kim. I'm sorry, Aunt
not.
Kim.
No, no, it's not like a huge like secret or anything. It's just like, we're rednecks. We're private people. We don't fucking talk
Yeah,
shit.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. Well, anyway, happy
Yeah,
birthday, Holly, friend of Aunt Kim. We love you. Thanks for watching. All right, let's get
yeah.
into the show. Um, with us, as always, producer Matt doing his thing. This is Evening Skews. Tonight, we update you all on the Capitol riot hearings that are currently going on in Congress. You'll never believe this, but a lot of the Republican lawmakers involved are taking some positions that some might describe as shitty or the worst. Details on that later. Speaking of Republican Congress people, they're also currently in the process of trying to cancel some of Joe Biden's cabinet nominees because of how offended they are at some of those people's past tweets. My, how the turns have tabled, or how the actual saying. Speaking of turntables, rest in peace, Daft Punk. All that and more on tonight's evening Skews. But first, as always, the Daily Dumbass. Matt, graphic, please. Tonight's DD is, I believe, the very first non-human being honoree in Skews history. That's right. Our dumbass tonight, Joe Biden's dog, Champ, for being so old and trashy looking. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I'll let Newsmax explain for me. Matt, play the clip.
You see the
please.
dog? I want to show you something I noticed. Doesn't he look a little rough? I love dogs, but this dog needs a bath and a comb and all kinds of love and care. I've never seen a dog in the White House like this. I remember Buddy, I remember Millie, I remember lots of dogs, but not a dog who seems, I don't know how much love and care he is getting. Let's bring in the historians. I'm having fun
While
with
he
this,
introduces these
but
people,
I do want to talk about some stuff.
This
Craig Shirley,
clip kills me. That dog, the picture they have of that dog is like the sweetest, most like papaw looking type gentle dog. Like if the dog was snarling or something, it'd be a different story. But just look at that dog's like loving face, loving and appreciative. Look at it while they shit all over him.
This part's good, Trey.
Dirty and disheveled, and very unlike a presidential dog like Millie or Victory or something else in the past in the White House.
Yeah, the dog's not presidential enough, Trey.
No, very disheveled, dirty, unkempt, like. Oh my God. I don't know. It kills me. I mean, we were talking before the show started. I'm like, part of me is part of me is relieved to get back to the sort of like tan suit sitting when there's a veteran in presence, mustard stain type of controversies. You know what I mean? Like that when it comes to Joe Biden controversies, they got to be like, look at how fucking old and dumb his dog looks, and that's what the controversy is. Like, part of me's relieved by that, but also just, what is this?
I've always had my beefs with Joe Biden. I mean, like, where's the fucking $2,000 checks? Well, why are you telling people we can't have $15 minimum wage? Why are you talking down student loan relief? Why the situation, the border's gotten a little better, but not better enough? Like, is all that shit. But like the degree to which, like, all that stuff they like about Joe Biden, right? So they have nothing on him to complain about. Their conspiracy theory machine, he doesn't really fit into outside of, like, that's why they were really trying hard with Hunter Biden's laptop. But like Barack, he was like, his middle name was Hussein. He went to a madrasa. They had started rumors that he ate dogs, and his dad was from Kenya. He was a secret Muslim socialist or whatever. Bill Clinton was a horny weirdo who was like, from Arkansas and plugged into the cocaine scene there or whatever in their heads. So he fits in the conspiracy machine where he murdered Vince Foster. But Joe Biden's been around for 40 years and never really done anything. So it's like they got like it's Teflon, man. It's Teflon to them. Yeah.
Right. Well, yeah. And again, so what the best they could come up with was, look how fucking old his dog is, y'all. Like, it's just, it's so funny to me.
Even as propaganda, it's never going to work because you're never going to win over Americans by being like, look how fucking ugly this dog is.
Right. Exactly. Yes. It's also like, this is that whole thing about like self-parody, how much they self-parody themselves, you know what I mean? And like how hard it is to parody these people, because like, what could you do if me and you were given the assignment to sit down and come up with the like newest fabricated scandal for Joe Biden by the people at Newsmax? You know what I mean? What could we possibly do that would actually be believable or funnier than, look how old and dumb his dog is? You know what I mean? Like, where do you even go from there? What do you do with that?
Well, he was smart enough not to get on Epstein's plane ever. He is because he probably hasn't been horny in 45 years. That's how old he is. But you got what else on him? Like his son got a job in Ukraine. That's it. That's what happened. So that's what you got.
Also, I just want to make a note. We talked over the introductory part of that video on purpose because it's boring. He's just introducing these other old white guys. But just so y'all know, one of those old white guys, his name was Doug Weed, which I just appreciate. I say, yeah, so did my dad. Know what I'm saying? A lot of guys Doug Weed back in the day. Anyway, all right, moving on to our honorable mentions. First honorable mention for Daily Dumbass. Anyone in 2021 America who tries to do something nice and decent for their community. You should have known better. What the fuck are you doing? With that in mind, Matt, if you've got the clip, I guess let's just play it. Me and Mark will give some commentary.
Well, it was a Facebook post that sent panic through the city of Coshocton. Dozens of red roses were found on vehicles outside the Walmart. Now, the fear was it was a sex trafficking ploy. Calls were pouring into dispatch, and the sheriff's office was investigating. But the truth was far less sinister.
They're putting roses under all these windows, and that's basically where my associates.
So people outside of Columbus, a Walmart outside of Columbus, Ohio, they're walking out, they're finding roses under their windshield wipers, and obviously
we're just trying
very
to put pieces
upset.
together. You know, was this?
QAnon must
Look
be
at
alerted.
this dude. By the way,
Or
this
was it
deputy. Look at
something,
this deputy,
you know,
Mark.
of
I did not
a
see
lesser
the
nature?
mohawk coming.
Was it completely
like,
harmless?
from
We
this
just didn't
guy.
know at the time.
The post warned of similar tactics tied to human trafficking.
So the police
That
department
was enough to flood
makes
the
a post
phone
that
lines.
warns people
I
that
work at
similar
Walmart. I'm a
tactics
cashier there.
have been used by child sex traffickers or sex
Yeah.
traffickers in the
on the
past.
windshield.
So now
There's a
people are
post
getting
going
whipped up
around
into a
about red roses
frenzy
left on
here
cars. We're
in the
supposed to call the
Columbus
sheriff's department.
Walmart
Have
community.
you heard anything about that?
Yep, we sure have.
Then that Facebook post showed up in Brittany Stroopy's
And here's
feed.
the explanation.
Basically said that there's like a potential sex trafficking thing going on at Walmart, and at the bottom of it was like a match to my vehicle's description. So I knew I had to call them then and let them know.
She needed to let them know where those roses came from in the first place.
On Valentine's Day, my at the time boyfriend decided to propose. I think he ended up saying that he spent over $300 in just roses.
And instead of tossing all of those flowers, Stroopy decided to spread the love with the help of her sister and daughter.
We should just go to Walmart thinking like, oh yeah, this will be a good idea. Like people's gonna come out and think it's awesome. And that didn't happen.
Sure, the plan encountered a few thorns.
Like, we had the idea, oh, we've got 400 roses. Let's
relief,
spread them around the
and
community,
it
spread a
was
little
nice to
love.
put out
People
that
will like
update,
it.
letting
And
the community
instead,
know that it had been solved, and it actually was just a kind, harmless deed that someone was doing.
It didn't go the way we expected. I think
No.
the world still needs more positivity, and
Yeah.
I don't want that to stop us from trying to keep people believing and hope and trying to have positive,
yes. All right, Matt, you can
vibes
turn
and
it
good
off.
energy.
Next time, if
So
we're
first of
handing out
all,
roses, we're going
bless
inside
these
Walmart.
ladies' hearts, and I mean that in the sincere
And
way, not the shitty,
Congratulations on your
passive-aggressive
engagement.
way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, like they literally were just trying to do something nice for people. They're like, we got all these extra roses. People will like roses. And then the next thing you know, the county police department is posting on Facebook that there might be a child or a sex trafficking ring going on in the community because of this epidemic of flowers under windshield wipers or whatever. And that's just, we live in a society, Mark.
It's like, first of all, like I don't watch local news very often because why? But like 2 years ago, my mom was visiting and she likes to watch the news, like the 6 o'clock news. So I put it on local LA news here for it. And it was like the level of fear porn is like so like Fox News gets a bad rap, but like people are getting that disease pumped into their brain every goddamn night that like having a rose left in your windshield is something like what is the sex trafficker's plan here?
Right.
Rose on windshield, step
Right.
1. Step 3, sex traffic women. What the fuck is step 2? What is
Right.
step 2 of this plan?
Yes, it's that state of fear thing with the media, like keep people living in a state of fear and whatnot, because then they're, you know, they just lap up all the information that comes out of it. They're like heightened awareness or whatever that comes from a state of fear. People care more about anything if they're afraid of everything, you know, and so that hits for the media.
But if you like, this is all Q, right? I mean, like this is all QAnon. This is the level of moral panic people are in about sex trafficking right now, all because of QAnon. That the sheriff's department in Coshocton, Ohio. Sorry if I said that wrong. Coshocton is like putting out messages for people to call 911 if they find a flower. Like, what the fuck is wrong with this?
Right.
Yeah.
Also, a thing you couldn't tell from just watching that video, but if you read the actual Facebook post, another element of how dumb the police department's post was about it. If you watch the video, you saw there were pictures of the woman or her daughter or both putting these roses under cars, and they both have long, dark hair, right? And in the police's Facebook post about it, they were described as two males driving what seems to be a Ford Explorer. And as they go on describing it, they're like, these two males repeatedly placed flowers under the windshield. And then the two males got into the thing and left. And it's like, just, I don't know, adding insult to injury for these sweethearts who went out of their way to try to brighten people's lives a little bit. And then they get accused of being sex traffickers and also get called dudes in the process by the cops. By
this kind of thing.
Mohawked Columbus cop.
I like that they the ladies called the cops on themselves and they recognized their vehicle description. Like this happened like when the wildfires in the Pacific Northwest last year. People thought Antifa was starting it. This person got on Facebook and noticed that people they went to high school with were tracking their cars, the people starting Antifa fires, and had to be like, no, we're not Antifa. We're photographers taking pictures of the wildfire damage. Everyone's going insane.
What do you think would have happened? Right, because they then as soon as they saw it, they called the cops and were like, "Hey, just so you know, that was us, and this is what we were doing." If that didn't happen, how do you think this would have played out? Would this be like a national story by now? Like it would have blown up? Like, who are the sex traffickers in Columbus, Ohio? What are they doing with roses in Walmart parking lots? Like the mystery would have just cranked it up even further if they hadn't come forward.
Yeah. There would have been within 3 days. There would have been like self-appointed like oath keeper militia types like detaining guys that sell flowers on the side of the interstate for questioning.
Right.
Yeah.
They would have outlawed roses in the greater Columbus area. Producer Matt, just so y'all know, is a resident of Columbus, and he says Coshocton is a great little town in Appalachian, Ohio. They will hate us for calling them Columbus. I'm sorry. We do keep doing that. Not being familiar with the area, if you just read the stories, they relate it to Columbus. But I'm sorry, Coshocton, and all the good people of the Coshocton Walmart.
Trey, not only is Matt correcting your pronunciation in the chat, but you heard it pronounced 10 times in a news story. It's Coshocton. It's Coshocton.
All right. Okay, we got some other honorable mentions for you. The next one is anybody who thinks conservatives can't be funny. Listen, that's not true. They got jokes. If you don't believe us, look at, again, someone who is becoming a Daily Dumbass Hall of Famer as we go on here, Congresswoman Lauren Boebert. And here's the clip.
Just look at the way I've been treated by the fake news and by creeps like Representative Jared Huffman. He was literally looking like Jiffy Pop. Perhaps Huffman is actually the famous corn pop we've all heard so much about.
Okay, Mark, you're going to have to even explain this joke to me. What was that? I could tell, as a comedian, I could tell it was poorly delivered, regardless of what the joke was supposed to be. But explain to me what that even was supposed to be, because I don't know.
Well, the Jiffy Pop part, I think she's calling him creepy. So I think looking like Jiffy Pop is some metaphor she's using for horniness, like trying to like he's about to explode. But mainly she's using it as a clumsy transition to get to the corn pop joke. Corn pop, you might remember from like a year and a half ago, I guess at this point, was a story that came up during the campaign when Joe Biden was on a weird, like one of his weird Grandpa Simpson rants. And he was telling a story about growing up on the mean streets of Delaware and volunteering to be a lifeguard across town in a bad neighborhood pool which is this is segregated time, so it meant like a pool for black people. So there was a guy who was a bad dude named Corn Pop, who was a gang leader, who he talked out of a knife fight. Now, this sounded very cartoonishly ridiculous, and everyone made fun of it for a day or two, and then it turned out to be a true story when they tracked down people who knew Corn Pop. So that was a level of gang name people were operating on back in Joe Biden's youth, was Corn Pop. So.
Corn Pop, yes. That is the most perfect 50 years ago Delaware gang leader name I can think of. The infamous Corn Pop. Out there just corn popping. But we have another example of conservatives killing it in the sense of humor category. Matt, you could play. Well, actually, so this is about Disney has put disclaimers in front of some old Muppet Show clips. Things like Johnny Cash playing a song in front of a Confederate flag. Things like that. They put a disclaimer in front of those episodes. And this was covered on Fox News. And Matt, play the clip whenever you got it.
Spark conversation to create a more inclusive future together. So rather than get rid of that content, which is very expensive, they're putting that label at the beginning of it. What do you think about that?
Total Mickey Mouse move, guys.
Boom!
But seriously, I mean,
seriously, folks,
is putting these kind of disclaimers on the Muppets or other old movies in its catalog.
You can cut that off, Matt.
That's all we need to say. Like, landed it, looked around. Hey, right? But seriously, folks. Anyway, Disney is the devil.
I think Disney Plus putting a disclaimer on Muppets is like one of those things most people roll their eyes at and move on with their goddamn life. Like, who cares? But I understand why a $1 billion corporation wouldn't want you to think Kermit the Frog doing like a Chinese accent as a joke. Is it like cool with them now?
Right. Okay. So to get further into this, I think that these reactionary conservative snowflake types are the reason that those disclaimers exist, as opposed to just, and what I mean is, if they had have just removed all them, if they had canceled all the Johnny Cash appearances on the Muppet Show or whatever without saying anything, and then the internet found out, which the internet always finds out, they'd be raising even a bigger stink. They're actually, if you've been fucking around with the internet for a while, you know that Disney has caught flack in the past for not doing this, because they had like Song of the South and other things that they tried to bury. And at the same time, Warner Brothers, with old Looney Tunes shows and stuff, they took this approach. They put a disclaimer on front. It's like, look, this is offensive. It reflects the taste at the time. We don't want to bury it and act like it never happened. It did happen, but it ain't cool. And at the time that happened, that was like the grown-up move to make on Warner Brothers' part. And people shit on Disney for just trying to erase everything. So now they're doing that. They're leaving it in and just putting a disclaimer up top. And now this is, like, you literally can't win with these people, is all I'm trying to say. Like, what is Disney supposed to... I mean, I guess they're supposed to leave it in and not say anything about it and just have fucking the stars and bars, flying on their streaming platform. Like, what else are they supposed to do? How do you appease these people?
Well, they don't want to appease. They see this as someone else being appeased. That's what pisses them off. Like I'm not sure what it costs them to take 3 seconds to see it. It's like when you watch an old VHS tape and said you can't copy it or the FBI will come get you. Apparently that was oppression. But you got to try real hard to be mad about this shit. I couldn't possibly care. Like Disney Plus just put the Muppets up. That's why this is the issue. They just put it up. And it came up with this logo. But by the way, Disney and Fox is the same company now. They got the biggest content library in the world, probably. They don't need to put the Muppets up. They could have just not put it up, and these people wouldn't even have the fucking issue to be mad at. But they put it up, and now you can watch Johnny Cash.
Right. Yes. They also try to make that point. They're like, well, they couldn't stomach just getting rid of the content because they need all that revenue, all that money. And it's like, dude, they're Disney. They're getting it either way. I promise you. Actually, on the Well Read podcast this week, Corey Forrester talks about how his church, when he was a kid, tried to lead a community boycott of Disney at large because Disney started allowing gay pride parades at Disney World. So the church that Corey went to was like, we got to boycott Disney. And his whole point is how that didn't go anywhere because he was like, all right, pastor, you come in here and make my kids shut the fuck up then. Like you try to avoid Disney owned content. You can't do it, you know, so they can get as mad as they want. They're not going to do shit about it. Which is
the only reason anybody even noticed this is because everyone's been stuck at home with their kids for 11 months. Someone parked their kids in front of Disney Plus to watch TV all day and wandered by it when somebody was like it's like, I mean, the reaction to this is like, yeah, I don't know. Again, you got to try hard to be mad about it. You got to will it into being.
Right. And see, that kind of goes back to what we were saying earlier about Joe Biden's dog. They're like, producer Matt says, also, kids can't read. Which is actually hilarious. That disclaimer that pops up, they have no idea what the fuck it says. That's a good one, producer Matt. But it goes back to what we were saying earlier about the Joe Biden's dog. And it's like you said, you got to try really hard to be mad about this, right? And it's like, I feel like we're veering back into that territory, which I'm actually encouraged by. The territory of the party not in power going out of their what they have to try so hard to find shit to be mad about. Whereas for us, it was like murder and treason and stuff for 4 years. So I'm thrilled to get back to an America where the scandals of the day are Disney disclaimers and a poor old dog looking like shit on camera or whatever. You know what I mean?
I wouldn't be too happy about it. A lot of people vote based on this stuff. I mean, that's what Trump figured out. Was you can win an American presidential race just being the guy at the end of the bar yelling about having to press 1 for English or whatever. Like people get really fucking fired up about this shit. I can't wrap my mind around it. I have actual problems and bills to pay, you know. But whatever. A lot of people don't. This is the biggest issue in their lives.
Okay, so producer Matt, just so you know, let's skip the. We had a clip of Tucker Carlson shooting an assault rifle, which is silly, but let's skip that because we've ranted about dumbasses for a while. But I do want to show the one about the Bible because I think it'll be relevant later when we get into the.
Well, it's relevant to what we're talking about right now. This is this cancel stuff. So
yeah, cancel culture stuff, which will come up again later too. Talking about the cabinet member hearing. So Matt, whenever you got it, play the Bible.
Start canceling these American presidents. They're going to come after Bible characters next.
Yeah, you could
mark my words.
Yep, wow. Yep.
Right?
And really,
yeah.
The Bible this Bible is a series of stories about people being canceled. It's a series of stories about shitty people God punished. It's like that. According to Fox News, King Herod is good now. King Herod killed every child under 2, just trying to get Jesus. Jesus sneaky though, got away, and he's good now. Pontius Pilate, a-okay. Fucking Lot, great. All the people in Sodom and Gomorrah, great.
What about his wife though? Lot's wife.
Lot's wife got a raw deal.
At the time, right? She got canceled. Yeah. She got canceled back then. So let's bring her back. I think.
Yeah, she didn't listen. She was told not to look backwards, and she looked backwards, and therefore deserved to die. Guy was really strict with his terms of service agreements back then.
Exactly right. That's right. Exactly. Like it's a text based around like divine retribution or whatever. You know what I mean? Like
and
very
shaming,
stiff consequences, and talking about how they're going to try to cancel these biblical figures next. It's like no, God did that for half of them. You know.
Moses didn't get to see the promised land because he got mad one time. You know, he was ostracized from his people. So it's like this all. It's like I like when he says they're going to cancel Bible characters next, and the 2 women, Dana Perino and the other woman, go like, oh, like he said something really smart and insightful. Like, shut the fuck up. I hate these people so much.
All right, so we spent half the show talking about the Daily Dumbasses, as we often do, because it's a fun time. But let's get into the Skews, y'all, which will be more of the same. All right, first up, there are hearings going on in Congress right now about the congressional riots that took place, the Capitol riots that took place on January 6th. And the Republican stance seems to amount to basically, it never happened, but it's your fault.
Yeah,
if it did.
We don't need to show this Ron Johnson clip because it's fucking nonsense, Matt. But basically, he has a testimonial from somebody who was out there that day, and his basic argument is everyone out there was too nice and also fat and old to have rioted. So that's fun. And
that was my favorite part about it is he's talking about like, so yes, it's Senator Ron Johnson talking about the people actually out on the streets during the Capitol riots, and he's saying it's like he's describing like the good Republican Americans out there, and as part of his point, he says he's like many of them were too old, overweight, or otherwise infirm to have possibly participated in a riot, which is just hilarious to me that he's like, look, we couldn't have done it. We're too fat, old, and dumb to do something like that, guys.
He also said they were wearing pro-police T-shirts. Like we didn't see the video of somebody beating a cop with a Blue Lives Matter flag.
Right. Yes. All the testimony from black Capitol police officers talking about people with Blue Lives Matter flags beating the fuck out of them in the moment.
They were working class too, which is their new, like, which of course to them means white. But then he also said there was another element there, and he pivots to talking about how, obviously trying to say it was Antifa. They keep saying it doesn't have anything to do with Trump. Meanwhile, yet another Republican official got arrested for storming the Capitol today. This guy was like the president of the Queen's, the Queen's Republican Party in New York. And a member of NYPD got arrested today for storming the Capitol. He actually gouged another Capitol cop's eye out. So that's fucking really cool. But these people didn't exist, Trey. It's the people we can't find that actually did it.
That guy, the guy from Queens, the Queens Republican leader guy, Frank Grillo is his name, which is that I appreciate that name. Or I'm sorry, Philip Grillo.
Frank Grillo's an actor.
Yes, right. Frank Grillo's an actor. Yes, very New York-y sounding name. Philip Grillo, 46, leader of the Queens Republican Party. Taken in for participating in the U.S. Capitol siege. On the day of the Capitol, he was caught on camera leaving the Capitol holding his shirt over his face. And he said, as he walked out, the media asked him, what were you doing in the Capitol? And he said, quote, "None of your motherfucking business, you fake news fucks." I'm sorry, Mark. That's not fair. I shouldn't misrepresent him. That's not what he said. What he actually said was verbatim, "None of your motherfucking business, you fake news fucks." That's what I was doing in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking worry about yourself, all right? I got shit going on in here.
I love when you get your money's worth out of your improv classes. That's my favorite part.
I know. You love it. Look, I like to make fun of the way other people talk, and I'm allowed to. If anybody's allowed to make fun of how other people talk, it's me. That's what I think.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So to give you an instance, a reminder, these are hearings into all the people that tried to kill Ron Johnson and Ted Cruz, et cetera. They think they would have been spared. They're fucking wrong. All right. And that's the hearings about, and where you got that picture of Ted Cruz, Matt. Maybe you don't have that one. Okay. He was looking at his a phone. He's just playing on his phone all day where they're talking about to be fair, I also don't care if Ted Cruz had got murdered. So we're on the same fucking page. But Ted Cruz in theory should care if Ted Cruz got murdered. And just to see how life's going for Ted Cruz, let's have a live look in front of Ted Cruz's house today.
Yeah. Matt, fuck the picture of Ted Cruz. Play the shit in front of his house whenever you got it, if you have that.
God bless Texas, man.
Dude, fucking mariachi band in front of his house. They brought Cancun to him, man.
Yeah.
They're just trying to make him feel better. That's all. He missed out on his vacation. They're trying.
Yeah. There's a picture of him looking at his phone. That's all he did all day was fucking play Words with Friends or whatever. But anyway, if you did, just to cut through the bullshit though, this day was the first day hearing as they interviewed for the 4 different police chiefs, most of whom have resigned by now, who were testifying about their various agencies' response, including the Capitol Police and DC Metro Police, and yada yada yada. First of all, they said no one could have seen it coming. It's all the other police chiefs' fault. No, it's the FBI's fault. Oh, wait, actually, the FBI did tell us, gave us intelligence briefing that this was a possibility that's going to happen, but they put it in the email, and they should have actually called. So this is the buck passing that happened, an ass covering that happened today. But here's the thing: you get this yeah. All these people are saying they didn't see it coming on January 6th. We fucking predicted it on this show. We talked about it.
Right, dude, everybody did, right? Like it was a whole thing. Like people were worried. Like in the run up to that, people were scared that something would maybe happen. And then it did, and now they're acting like, well, there's no way we could have ever known. Also, quick side note, I saw a comment fly by earlier from Troy Turner said, Trey, I could help you do a passable New York accent. I know they're not good. I'm not saying any of them are good, just so y'all know. They're fun. Another guy said just now, Trey is to comedy what Ted Cruz is to comedy fodder, and I don't know what that means or how I feel about it, but we'll
I don't know if it could be taken a lot of different ways.
Yeah, it could. Anyway, but yes, they're trying to lean on this argument of like, oh, there was poor intelligence, there was shitty intelligence, so we couldn't have known. But like you said, everybody knew. Before it even happened, everybody knew it was going to happen.
I saw some people comparing it to 9/11 because there was actual intelligence and no one bothered to read it. The FBI, like the Capitol Police chiefs were like, well, there wasn't a report. Oh, wait, there was a report, but the FBI put it in an email. And by the way, it's still not our fault because the FBI email that we didn't read says the chances of violence were remote or improbable. So how can you put the blame on the email when you didn't fucking read it?
Right.
And the thing is really is the bigger takeaway here, and like how by the way, Josh Hawley was defending the police chiefs because obviously, like if they couldn't have seen it coming, obviously he couldn't either. So it's a brilliant way for him to cover his own fucking ass. Step back, reminder here: 7 people are dead, 5 people died on the day, and 2 cops killed themselves like within 3 or 4 days after. So this is the context for which all these guys are doing this dance to not give a shit about. And the just an example of how little these people seem to understand. Like there's just like everybody in authority seems to have this takeaway that things that happen on the internet aren't real, as if most of us don't do all of our living through online to some degree. I'm not talking about sitting under a tree or whatever, but I mean working, where we get our information, how we talk to other people, how we plan things, like say a siege of the Capitol, right? Like here's a clip from Amy Klobuchar, just to give you a sense of how little they get how anything works. All right.
President Trump sent nationwide tweets.
The clip was I got cut off a little early there, but she says President Trump sent nationwide tweets. Yes. She's accusing him of sending
his Twitter to nationwide.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
didn't thankfully for the rest of the world, he didn't go global tweet. He didn't use the global setting. He set it on national only. But still, pretty destructive, Mark, that the whole nation had to read those tweets.
This is silly example, but we knew this stuff was going to happen because we read Twitter, right? So you can see these people planning to fucking overthrow the government on Twitter, on Reddit, on 4chan, on 8chan, on all their on college football message boards. College football message boards are hotbeds of right-wing propaganda and misinformation and QAnon shit. It's just like, even like the degree, like they're questioning Merrick Garland and a really smart expert on extremism I like a lot named J.J. McNabb explained this, like even describing it as a white nationalist movement sort of like diminishes it, right? Because white nationalists are a small segment of what she calls anti-government extremists, like your QAnon people, your Oath Keepers, your 3%ers. Those don't necessarily have racial components. I mean, the Proud Boys national leader was a black dude. Is he also really a Western chauvinist who hates feminism and Muslims? Yes, that too. But he's also black. So like these guys, it's just like they can't wrap their mind around what a fucking dangerous moment it is.
Right. They oversimplify it all. Like they boil it down to this like buzzword explanation of what's happened that isn't actually reflective of what happens. But yeah, like, yes, there were plenty of white supremacists up there. Don't get us wrong. They were heavily involved, but there's a lot more going on than just that. There's plenty of anti-government extremists or whatever that the Venn diagrams of them and white supremacy overlap a lot, but they're not all the same thing. So you can't just say, oh yeah, it was a bunch of racists or whatever that took it over.
Yeah.
It's like there was a lot more going on than just that. And you have to understand all of it and address all of it to have any kind of actual response to it. And they're just not, like you said, it just seems like they just don't understand really what's actually happened.
If you like, these aren't your parents' white nationalist movements, right? Like you couldn't, as Dave Chappelle brilliantly pointed out at the first episode of Chappelle's show, you can't really be a black Klansman, right? You can be a black Proud Boy if you can see that Western culture is the bee's knees and you hate feminism and immigrants suck. You can join the Proud Boys as long as you believe in those things. Right. So if you see a group of people and they have one black dude, you don't think they're a threat, you're fucking wrong. Right.
Right.
So that's they keep getting blindsided by this shit because they're all 90. They use ageism again.
Yes.
But
and downplaying it and everything like that. And I just want to make sure we show, like, just as a reminder of, you know, the fact that this was real. You know, because they also try to act like, oh, you're overplaying it. It didn't really happen, but if it did happen, it was your fault. And just to sort of dispel that, here's U.S. Capitol Police Captain Carnecia Mendoza talking about her experience that day.
Of the multitude of events I've worked in my nearly 19-year career in the department, this was by far the worst of the worst. We could have had 10 times the amount of people working with us, and I still believe the battle would have been just as devastating. As an American and as an Army veteran, it's sad to see us attacked by our fellow citizens. I'm sad to see the unnecessary loss of life. I'm sad to see the impact this has had on Capitol Police officers. And I'm sad to see the impact this has had on our agency and on our country.
So she, like, this is a good example, I think. Like, when watching this for the first time earlier, I thought about that guy years ago during one of Obama's debates he had. During one of the debates, they put a question on the screen from a troop abroad. It was like a soldier abroad asking a question for the presidential debate. And he identified himself as a gay man to begin with. He's like literally deployed overseas. And he's like, you know, I'm first sergeant, whatever of this, whatever. And I'm a gay man. And as soon as he said I'm a gay man, he started getting booed relentlessly by the crowd, despite being, you know, a troop fighting a war. You're supposed to support the troops. And I thought about this while watching this clip earlier, because it's like, she checks a lot of boxes, you know, law enforcement official, Army veteran, and whatever, but she'll still just get brushed off immediately, I think, by them for being on the wrong side of the debate and being a black woman with a name like Carnecia. Like, it's so clear how the scales really work out, I think, when you put all the different weights out there at the same time. You know what I mean? Yeah. Veteran, you know, American, whatever, versus these other factors. You find out where people really stand, I think.
I expect you're probably right, but it's weird that, like, it's not really a political stance that she shouldn't have chemical burns on her face from going to work.
Yeah, right.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But because it's an inconvenient fact for them that this happened, pointing out facts just means she sucks and she's against them, right? But that's where we're at in America in 2021. And by the way, that memory from 2008 just reminds me of how different America was even in 2008. It's wild.
Yeah,
it sort of crystallizes why reactionaries are fucking going so hard right now. If you think about how much the world's changed in the last 10, 15 years.
Yeah, man.
Anyway, should we move on to a more fun topic?
Yes, please.
Neera Tanden, close, nearer to my heart. So she's, like, if you don't know who she is, she's a Biden's nominee for OMB director. We talked about her last week, and she's under fire for mean tweets. She didn't call Bernie an ignorant slut, but Joe Kennedy pretended she called Bernie an ignorant slut, and it was really funny. So she's not going to be OMB director because Joe Manchin has decided he's going to vote against her. Now, all this is really, really funny because I mean, I just, like, Neera Tanden's like a rich lady. Her main thing she does in life is raise money from Clinton World. It doesn't really matter if she's an OMB director or not. It was like a patronage job. It's kind of shit that happens in DC. I don't give a shit whether she's OMB director or not. So that's just funny. But more importantly, Manch is also making noise about torpedoing Deb Haaland. Matt, tell me if I'm saying her name wrong. It's spelled Haaland. Now, she's a U.S. representative, and she's Biden's nominee for Interior Secretary.
Right.
Now, so she is a Native American woman, a committed environmentalist, and a supporter of the Green New Deal, which is why they hate her. But they're pretending they hate her for her mean tweets.
Right.
Specifically, she tweeted once that Republicans don't believe in science. And so Senator John Barrasso of Wyoming, the ranking member on the Senate Energy Committee, confronted her about the tweets. And they probably spent a good, 3 hours on the fucking tweet. She said Republicans don't believe in science. He pointed out that Republicans are doctors. A lot of them. Some of them are doctors, which is why they want their taxes cut, I guess. And do you think as medical doctors don't believe in science? How can you stand by that statement? Now, there are a lot of Republican medical doctors in the House. They also, some of them are the craziest people in there. So the fact getting through medical school doesn't mean you understand anything else about the world, by the way. I'm not saying doctors are stupid. I'm saying you can be smart at one specific thing when you're in your 20s and then go crazy later. So yeah, here it is. They deleted the word. Here's a tweet. And it's got the clapping emojis between it, which is a internet lingua franca. They deleted the word science from their website. Republicans don't believe in science. All right, that's
that was a wonderful translation of that tweet, Mark.
Yeah,
for the record, you really nailed that interpretation. I liked it.
The clap. So I'm not doing cultural appropriation. I want to recognize that is a tremendous black woman's contribution to American discourse is the clap talking, and I support it.
Yes.
But the mean tweet thing is so fucking childish and stupid. I want to remind you that Joe Manchin voted for Richard Grenell and a bunch of other Trump supporters, Trump nominees, who had way worse stupid mean tweets, and also like the whole Republican Party pretended for 4 years they had no idea what Trump was tweeting because Twitter's stupid. They don't go on it.
Yes,
right?
that too. That and the fact that the argument that's been beaten into the ground at this point, but it remains true that they come after us for being overly sensitive snowflakes, right? And they're trying to discredit these cabinet nominees for saying some kind of mean things about them in the future. Also, Matt, by the way, if you got some questions and comments, throw them up there. Whatever y'all are thinking about the congressional hearings or any of this shit, hit us with it. But yes, or how they're acting with cancel culture, however you want to term it.
They're canceling their attendance.
They're also like they're trying to. It's like they're also saying, basically, they're saying when you tweeted that you thought we were racist for putting Mexican kids in cages, that was really offensive to us for you to say that kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like when you said you support Mexican babies and think they shouldn't be kept in cages, and we're the ones who are putting them there. That was unfair to us and our people. Like, it's just...
Yeah. Why you got to bring up current shit, Trey?
Right, yeah.
So Matt made this point. I think it's very smart. Is that one reason we should care about this, and like our viewership, for obvious reasons, skews rural, right? The Native Americans, she's obviously very committed to Native causes, and natives live on the land, on big chunks of the land, and want to protect it. And they're also the first people to get fucked by environmental policy. Like, for example, the federal government soft chunks their land or give coal companies or forced lumber cutting companies access to it, yada, 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 whatever. They're canaries in the coal line for another group of people, Appalachians, who are the next in line to get fucked with any new environmental racism idea. And I don't just mean white Appalachians, or community of color there too. Like it's a throwaway land, which is why Joe Manchin cares about it, because he loves coal so much he eats it with milk for breakfast. And that's the real problem here. He doesn't care if his shit. He doesn't give a shit about a fucking tweet that said Republicans don't believe in science. Joe Manchin's not a Republican, first of all, so he doesn't care about that.
Right. The other thing that makes it even more ironic, and I'm saying this tongue in cheek, but it is true, is it's like if you're a poor white trash person, I think you'll agree with me when I say that poor white trash people like to claim a degree of connection with natives. You know what I mean? Like it's like a white trash stereotype that everybody's got a Cherokee grandma or whatever or something like that. Like there's an old joke that goes, what do you call 16 Southern white people in the same room? A full-blooded Cherokee, right?
Yeah.
That whole thing. So there's a lot of reasons why you would think people would draw these same conclusions. Like if they're going to fuck them over, they will fuck us over too. But people don't look at it that way because in the moment it's like, well, yeah, well, let them get fucked over. I mean, that's not how they frame it, but it's how they obviously feel about it. It's not them getting fucked over at the time, so fuck it, who cares?
This should be obvious by now, but if you're a working class white person, you have more in common with a black person or a Native American person as far as your class interests than you do with a white person who happens to own a fucking business. You just like I grew up like 5 miles from an industrial pig farm, and if the wind shifted, the whole fucking neighborhood smelled like pig shit all summer, and it doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't. Somebody gave them a permit and put it there.
Right. I saw a comment fly by from Lita. Lita Marie Wills or Willis or something like that, who said, my favorite tribe, the Pretendians. Oh, there it is. There it is. Matt pulled it up. Yeah, he saw it coming. Yeah, Lita Marie Wills. My favorite tribe, the Pretendians. I've never heard that before, the Pretendians, but I love it. Cell Sword King says, Trey, don't call out every single girl in my high school.
Which one was that?
Yes,
which call out was
very
that?
much a thing. I mean, look.
Oh, the Indians. Yeah. Okay.
Look, senior Georgia correspondent and hugely progressive. Everybody loves him. Corey Ryan Forster. His family has the same thing going on. It's like his dad will tell you, they're one whatever percentage Indian. It's a whole thing. Harry,
don't trade on.
No, I'm gonna try it. I tried it, dude. I'm gonna try it, Mark.
This will take
I'm
20
not gonna
minutes.
just dismiss their last name. God damn it! I'm gonna try it. Harry Zolabalyuk. I bet that's close, Mark. Says, my parents live downwind from a sewage works. I can totally agree with Mark.
All this is bullshit, right? Just say, like, you can even phrase it in the term of jobs, which you're afraid that the woman in charge of the interior is going to be too friendly to environmental groups. It's going to cost people money. Just fucking say that and quit being children. Like, give an example of how they should work. If you're grown up, you just say what you mean. Bernie announced he was going to oppose Tom Vilsack because he thinks, quote, we need someone a little bit more vigorous in terms of protecting family farms and taking on corporate agriculture. Vilsack was confirmed, but at least Bernie said what he fucking meant. He was concerned in environmental groups, black farmers, civil rights groups. Like, it was like everybody was against this guy except for corporate agribusiness, and he's fucking in charge. So there we go.
Harry corrected me with a smile, and I appreciate Harry. Harry Zobaylik. Yes, despite my best efforts, I did in the end butcher the fucking shit out of it.
I don't want to pull the curtain back too far here, guys, but in true redneck fashion, Trey can't read, so we work around it.
I can't say words good, I mean, I've been upfront about that. I pre-apologize to people all the time about how poorly I will say words. It's a thing. Oh man. Laura Wynn Norton says, my husband claimed his 23andMe results were obviously wrong because they didn't show any Native American history, and his mama or whatever had always told him, you've got Native American blood in there. Yeah, it's a thing. It's very much a thing.
23andMe is like the funniest business model of all time, because the real profit making comes in the back end when they sell your genetic data to like health insurance companies and shit, or like for drug research,
right?
Whatever. That's cruel enough. But on the front end, the amount of families that have been ripped apart by it when they find out daddy isn't the real daddy, or that they're racist, but it turns out they're quarter black or whatever. It's just all around evil, and just. Don't blow up your mom's spot by getting a DNA test. Your dad raised you; it's fine. Don't ruin the family.
Robin Floyd says, "You two are a brilliant team. I'm gonna be pissed when I have to pay for HBO Go. If that's supposed to mean when we're on HBO Go, don't worry about it, Robin. You be. I wouldn't worry about that. You'll be fine. But we really appreciate the compliment
not on their radar.
There. Yeah. So, have you done the 23andMe thing, Mark? Have you done it personally?
My wife did it for our dog.
Katie did it for me and her. And I was just going to say, like, my results were just they were very boring. Nothing interesting at all. Just white, Just why Crowder is an English name, and I'm like 54% English, and the rest of it is like Scotch Irish hillbilly or whatever, and that's it. There's nothing interesting in there at all. For me.
AG is a French name, but my family's been here for like 400 years, so we're all Scotch Irish and whatever was around to fuck. This doesn't. Whatever salesman was in town.
People are not happy with my Goomba voice earlier. Anthony Shepard says, Trey, your New York Italian accent would have you sleeping with the fishes. I know. Again, I never claimed they were good. I just think they're funny, you know.
But that he means Italian people.
yes, the fishes. Italian. Yes.
No. You said that they're not good at it. They're just funny. I was like, you mean Italian people, right? We love you, Italians.
I didn't even get what I thought your joke was. I thought you were saying the fishes were Italians. I was like, yes, Italian fishes, we all know. And I thought you were saying you'll get a lot of Italian action because you'll be sleeping with the fishes. I went to a completely ridiculous place with it.
I was just being ironically racist against the one group you're still allowed to do that to.
You're still allowed to do that too, yeah.
Not really, but sort of.
No, I'm like, you could clip out that little clip of me doing that guy's voice earlier and put a caption over. It's like, watches The Sopranos once or whatever, and then it's like, hey, fuck you, motherfucker.
Yeah.
I think I could do it a little better than I'm doing it. I'm just having fun with it now. Y'all give me some time to work on it. I'll come back later. I'll have it. Yeah, I'll go to a few more improv classes. I'll work on it. I'll get it. I'll get it down. You guys will be all right with it. Oh shit! Somebody said, "I'm sorry I missed your name. It flew by very quickly." But somebody said New Yorkers wouldn't give a fuck. And yes, you're right. You're very right about that. I know they're not. They're not concerned. As a side note, me and Corey and Drew, we did our tour all around the country. And people might be surprised to hear this, but I felt like the most kind of redneck adjacent place that wasn't redneck at all. So it's like, of all the places we went that weren't at all redneck, but had a kind of rednecky thing going on, number one would be New Jersey, in my opinion, because like they were very, very, very Jersey, but there was a lot of overlap between them and the rednecks on that Venn diagram, in my opinion, because they were coming up to us in the meet and greet line, just talking shit, just roasting us the whole time. Walking up, was like, you don't look like a fucking redneck. Okay, well, I'm not going to keep doing the voice because it doesn't make people happy. But anyway, yeah, I like Jersey. I like what they got going on up there.
One of the single reddest experiences of my life was in Queens. I happened to be living in New York for a job. It was Super Bowl Sunday two years ago. And maybe 2 years ago. And they played God Bless America, which is important to the story, is not the national anthem. All right.
Yeah, Lee Greenwood, right?
Yeah, no, that's proud to be an American. God Bless America is just one of
okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yes. All
so
right.
this guy with a ponytail stands up with his hand over his heart during God Bless America, no one else does, and cusses the rest of the bar out because he doesn't understand that it's not the national anthem. Then they cut to the Super Bowl was in Atlanta, so a bunch of the Atlanta luminaries were in the field for the anthem, which was coming up soon, and they showed John Lewis, and he booed John Lewis just for not liking President Trump, I guess. So there you go.
Isa Quinones, I'm so sorry, everyone, says, I'm from North Jersey, and I 100% agree. But you know what I'm talking about. It's a thing. Oh, Adam Lowe says Jersey smells like Ted Cruz's breath. Well, that seems mean, Adam. We don't got to be mean to Jersey up here. You know, they're mean enough to themselves. There it is, Matt. Once again, me predicting Matt's moves over here. That's the comment I was talking about.
Stockton and Malone over there. Just reading each other's moves ahead of time.
Serenity 6831 says, sheesh, Adam. Will HPC for life says, RIP Tiger Woods' legs. Yeah, that's a thing. He had another car-related incident this morning. I don't
Trey,
know.
if I was worth even after his wife took $800 million, he still probably got $500 million now.
So why was he driving?
If I had that many reasons to live, I would travel in an armored car, like climate controlled,
with someone else driving, right?
Yes.
Like, yeah. yeah, it's wild. I don't know. I'll tell you this. I'm not a big golf dude at all, but
Me
like,
neither.
I know, shocking, white trash, don't know a lot about golf, but like, if he somehow, because apparently he broke both his fucking legs, I guess, or he has multiple leg injuries or saying, if he
Haven't seen.
somehow comes back from that and goes back to winning Masters and shit like that, then I mean, every head must bow, every tongue must profess, in my opinion. But like, I don't know how that doesn't end your career at that point. Oh, Eric B says, you never mentioned Daft Punk. Are you fans? Yes, I am a fan. I tweeted this earlier. It's a true story. I'll reiterate it here. I've always liked Daft Punk because I mean, I like dance music. I like EDM and all that good stuff. I'm not I couldn't go over their discography with you or nothing, but I like Daft Punk. In 2014, I was watching the Grammys with my wife, Katie, who she's the most casual music fan on planet Earth. Basically, like, if you can like dance to it a little bit, she's familiar with it, but couldn't tell you the artist or the lyrics. And beyond that, that's the end of it. So we're watching the Grammys of 2014, and that's the year that Daft Punk won Album of the Year for Random Access Memories. But before that happened, they were out there with Pharrell doing Get Lucky. They were doing a live performance of Get Lucky. But Pharrell starts on stage by himself, and then other people pop up. And then at the end, this like kind of door opens in the back, and Daft Punk pops up, and they're back there in the robot things on the ones and twos doing their thing, and the crowd loses their mind. But my wife is watching this, and she goes, check out those dudes in the back wearing the robot costumes. She was like, how do you get that job? I want to be one of those guys just like bouncing around in the back with a helmet on. And I was like, that's literally that's Daft Punk. She had no idea, which I think is proof of how effective their strategy was, you know?
I do want to say they're better people than me, because if I had access to all the money they were making and I could just put someone else in the robot helmet and send them on tour and collect those checks, like Milli Vanilli style, I would keep doing it. There would be 300 years of Daft Punk and no one would know when I died.
Okay. As we talked about on the group chat earlier today, we don't have any proof that they didn't do that, Mark. They might have done that countless times. Nobody would know. That's what's cool about it. But yes, rest in peace, Daft Punk, the band, they're both still very much alive, but y'all know what I mean. Producer Matt's telling me, and he's correct, we should everybody who took our survey, Producer Matt's survey this week, we really appreciate it. Over 1,000 people have taken it. It's still open on weeklyskews.com if you want to fill it out. It's very helpful for us, so thank you all very much. And join us in 48 hours for what will be the very last Thursday edition of the Skews. After this Thursday show, we're going to Tuesdays only. So, yeah, make sure you come here Thursday, and we'll do the thing. Mark, you got anything to add? Anything to close out on?
Thanks, guys. It was fun.
Yes, thanks, guys. Thank you very much. See you